So for this one, we're going to now expand on the sides. This is too small. And this is the only little piece we have. We're not allowed to cut any of the rest of the G. So I think let's unpick this, and then we're going to go through these measurements. And then here, we'll need to unpick this portion of the waistband. I actually, this guy. Love him. Yeah, I don't know if we should actually unpick the whole waistband so that we can add just one extra section here. Or he asked me actually if I can to put it under the sign, which I mean we just could.
Just for the waistband, or instead of doing the sides, only do the same.
Well, you have to also no. He doesn't want it there. Like that doesn't look fashion.
No, it has to be on the sides.
Yeah, we're going to do it on the sides, but then he doesn't want to have two strips there and there. He'd rather have one strip covered by this. People are extra. That's why we have jobs. So I think let's start with that. Just unpick like from here this whole waistband.
Okay, we're adding 10 centimeters.
Yeah. So it's gonna like you'll see the join lines either side because obviously with seam allowance.
It won't be that obvious.
Yeah. Or at least it will look kind of fashion to like frame that in a way.
And how far does this need to go?
For now let's unpick this top stitch. And then maybe just unpick it also to where the top stitch is. Because we can't go further than this shape. So we're going to go, this I'd want to put into the seam allowance. So we can actually only go to the bottom of the pocket. But then, maybe, unpick to the bar tack then, I think.
Yeah.
The top stitch. And then open it like to there. So we can put that in.
Okay.
Gerag. Meneer, maar daai long strips. Ons besluit, are we gonna do it this way?
I stretch. Die stretch sal goed wees vir die side.
Yeah, for the sides. So it's better we do it this way.
So jy kan 'n driehoek sny en so dat jy twee driehoeke. Maar jy wil hierdie stuk in die waistband.
Ja. So ek dink hierdie gedeelte sal eintlik beter wees vir die om ensovoorts. Want jy het al daai distress, and I mean it's a stretch, so we'll just put it. So ek dink in daai section we can't use so much. So obviously we should actually draw this on the wrong side, like sane people. And having this 1000% straight is not going to kill anyone, but it'll make me feel better. So we need 5 each side, plus seam allowance, so 7. 7, 7. Yeah, that does leave us very little for all the other pieces. On the waistband, then we're going to need about 10. So I guess we'll just squeeze the waistband out of this. And that leaves these portions. Because we only need 4 strips of about 15. Okay, so we can make it. Also 15. So more or less. Yeah, I'm not going to unpick that. He must deal with with the level we can do. And okay, we can also use this strip. Whew. Well, let's see what we can do. As deep as this. That's as deep as it's going to go.
As the whole
piece. Yeah. To about here. I think actually maybe we cut it. Yeah. To have that line sitting there, I don't know how picky this guy is. But I suppose, if we cut it there, that line will be kind of, hidden under the waistband there. So if we cut there, then that portion is in the waistband because that's then our seam allowance. Stem a song. Yeah, and then we just get to around here. That's how it goes. It's just how it happens. Is this side not better color? No, absolutely not.
Okay, fast. So we cut here for these pieces. So first cut that so we can use this for trim.
For all the rest, John.
Well, we're not going to get all the rest. We're going to get one front and the other front. And then the back.
The back, like out of there.
These two pieces. But they're not going to have the same distress.
That's. I think as long as we do like the two fronts and the two backs, the same.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then waistband.
And then waistband, yeah. Shall we cut this one?
The waistband must be twice this.
Yeah, on the inside we can put something else. Okay. If we have to. This is John Scott.
Yeah,
I just want to cut this one.
Okay.
You just be strong. Yeah, because it's here that we're cutting.
Look.
In?
Ek wou gesê vat hom dat hy hier sentimeter van af is.
Well,
because that's okay.
But this is it really a centimeter? Oh, it's about a centimeter. So it's a bit mad.
Okay,
I tell you, the stress that we have to deal with just on an everyday basis. Okay, so an alcohol. So here's our top. Our bottom's going to be here. So 3.5 is our center. And then I put about a centimeter there. So I'm going to do actually like 3/4 centimeters each side of that line. So that it has the seam allowance like on the side of the line. So it doesn't come to a point.
Ja, maar dan moet jy mos centimeter en centimeter. Want jy gebruik hier die hele centimeter tot daar en dan die hele so daai met 'n centimeter en 'n centimeter.
Not exactly. Because I'm going to take
Maar gaan jy hom 'n bietjie inshape.
Yeah. We're going to take the one like that. So that's going to have the centimeter in. And then it's going to fold out. And this is now going to be, because this is not 1.5 centimeters, so it's only going to be here. So this is going to then shape, as it's in mark.
Okay.
No, and then here, I don't know, making it 3 centimeters. That it's a straight piece. So it's going to be quite a hectic triangle. Usually I would prefer to make it a bit.
Well, that's the only bit need to be extended in the waist is the bum.
Bum's okay. It's really like this middle portion. Okay, well, here we go.
This is it.
At some point you've done all the measuring you can do. And obviously I cut on the outside of the lines there. So that's why I measure it at 1.5. Because I know, obviously, that's my bespoke method. So I'm used to that, those measurements. Okay. So then cut on someone's stitch, and here, we'll need to use the zip foot to get there. We stitch it like that, and then that seam we treat as one. So I'll overlock that, and then come and join that one in, like that. Okay. I think let's do that, and then look at what we do at the waistband and all of that. Okay. Stem me a song.
Wat die makliker wees terwyl dit hier oop is om hierdie te doen of sal dit hoe plan jy om hierdie te doen actually?
I'm not emotionally ready for that yet.
Mens net dit doen en hom top stage laat hy uitrafel of dink jy mens moet?
Nee, ja, ons so moet
dit.
Ja. And I think then we overlock the other side and understitch.
You like so goed. Now what's going on?
He's crazy, this man. Maar ek dink ons begin met die twee agters.
Okay. So eintlik kan ek maar eers hierdie doen en dan maar whatever die pockets.
Ja.
Okay.
Because yeah, I mean it's really unnoticeable. Especially if you're wearing a jacket or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's what we came to this life to do, is to make fashion. Kyk nie raar, I love it. So yeah, obviously, you know, I'd prefer to do this deeper, maybe 15 centimeters, but you know, this is just how it goes sometimes. And yeah, while it's open like this, you wanted to do the pockets, I think that's great. En ja, wat gaan jy doen? Stitch hom so en dan omdop.
Omdop, ouer op die ander kant.
Yeah, and then just stitch in the ditch. Yep. Yeah, fashion, I love it. And then yeah, you know, I think it's smart what you're doing. Let's rather finish the pockets, because then you know, whatever is left we'll do on the waistband. Because the waistband also you can hide with a belt and with our tag.
Yeah.
So fabulous, baby. Yeah, I like it. You know, usually we would just do this and do it on the waistband. This client is just, you know, he loves fashion like us. He's just a slave to the vibes. So we have to put this here and here. But you really, like, you'd never notice that. But anyway, we're going to put that there and there just for fashion. Fabulous, baby.
That's it.
Just look at this fashion. Look what's happening there. Look at that. I love it. You know, I mean, it's such a subtle difference. But now these are all matching. So there we go. Now we're wanting to do this waistband, which usually I would do in the center back because I think that's just more logical. But you know, with this one, we've got this interesting tag there, so we're going to be able to cover this more or less. Then we wanted to add 10, but we don't really have, because you have to put a centimeter seam allowance each side and then compensate another seam allowance to come here, which we didn't have. We had what, 12?
Yeah.
So we're just going to do a half centimeter seam allowance, and that's how it's going to go. And then we'll put that here on the side, hide it with that, and then yeah, obviously we're going to have to move the belt loops. So this, yeah, interesting. I'm going to run into a bit of trouble here. But yeah, there's just going to be discoloration. There's nothing you can do about that. I would just have this back here. You know, even if now the one seam allowance is a little bit in, one a little bit out. Or maybe yeah, shift it a little bit, because this we can hide with a belt. But like this discoloration here, oh, don't make it too obvious, like don't have it there. Don't make sense. Otherwise, it's looking fashion. Fabulous. Look at that. So fashion. So there we joined it there. Like I said, usually I'd put it here. But yeah, you know, this guy wanted it to cover there. And yeah, I mean, I really don't think he would have noticed that. But he just wanted some more fash. Over there, over there. Look at that. Very fashion, especially if you're wearing it under a jacket or something. You won't really notice anything about it. That is how fashion fashions. Daar's daai.